Well, I've been to what's supposed to be the world-famous Leavenworth, Washington for their Christmas displays. Not impressed. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up everybody? How you doing? Of course it's me, Robert Anthony, here at Living with Rob. I am your host here on the channel, and it's been a while since we've done an update. You may recall the last update that I did was an update for photographing the larch trees on the White Pass side of Mount Rainier. In today's video, we're going to go a little bit long. I want to first wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to all of you. I am so happy that you're part of this family as we celebrate the Christmas season here in Washington. I want to give you an update on what's going on. I'm going to share with you some unbelievable Christmas footage and snow footage, tell you the story about how I obtained said footage, give you a little report on the town of Leavenworth, Washington, and Wenatchee and how they do Christmas, and then just kind of give you a brief overview of what I'm expecting in the coming months as I spend my time here in the state of Washington. You may know not too long ago, Joelle and I came to the state of Washington for the express purpose of helping my son who's going through some medical issues, and he had requested that we come out here. And of course, as we live on the road full time, that was a choice that we had made. Joelle has now since moved back to Florida. She'll be back there for a while. She's helping her mom. She originally had intended to go back for Christmas and spend Christmas and her birthday, which is in January, there with her family. And instead, her mother is going through a number of health issues again, and she's having to revisit some of those. So Joelle's trying to really make some determinations and make some decisions on what direction she wants to go as it relates to specifically being in Florida for an extended period of time to help her mother. I will, of course, be staying out here with my youngest son, and then into the spring, looking to continue to build the RV business. Being out here in the rainy state of Washington in the winter time, we are just a few days off of Christmas, but I had the good fortune of meeting a really nice young lady at the gym that I train at here in Graham, Washington. For some reason, the topic of photography came up, and we just immediately started talking all things photography, and I was so grateful to have met her, had some discussion with her, because she was generous enough to give me what is 4 pages of places that I can do photography around this area, both with my drone as well as with my camera. So I now have purpose again. And again, stick around, because toward the end, I'm going to show you some pretty amazing photography that I think that you're really going to enjoy. I really do, with some stuff that I was able to capture this past week. So at the top of her list was the town of Leavenworth. Leavenworth, Washington is what's supposed to be a Bavarian style German town, and it's supposed to be very quaint, and in fact Joelle had met some people on the plane going to Fort Lauderdale that were here specifically to go to Leavenworth, Washington for their Christmas celebration. They're heralded as one of the go-to spots for all of the state of Washington to visit, to see Christmas, and to experience a small Bavarian German town. I got there after a absolutely treacherous snowstorm that I was driving in. I chose to leave on Tuesday and drive up over Stevens Pass in Washington. And you'll see here in this photo right here, the following day, somebody had posted on Facebook just a random photo. I don't know the person that posted this photo. They're not in my friend group or anything, but that's my truck. And you can see the snow. Apparently they were following me. Once I got up to about 12 miles downstream of Stevens Pass, the up and over where one of the main ski resorts is at, going down to Leavenworth, the snow just started to fly, and it was a whiteout blizzard for the rest of the trip into Wenatchee, which is where I was staying overnight. As I drove through Stevens Pass, it was just, like I say, you couldn't even see. It was a 25 to 30 mile an hour drive, a 3.5 hour drive. Ended up taking me 6 to get there. My, of course, hope being that this is all going to be worth it, and you do anything to get the shot. Anything to get the shot is what you shoot for. Because I had spent my whole life growing up in the state of Michigan and driving a lot in the snow and in the ice, to me, it really wasn't that big of a deal. It was just a slow go. You know, you're going uphill, you don't ever stop. I was never able to stop, because if you stop, you're going to go backwards and not be able to start going forward again on these steep grades. And then going down, you can't hit your brakes because they'll lock up easily in the snow, and you know, you'll start sliding around. The mountains here are not steep drop-offs. It's a lot like driving through the Smokies, unlike in Utah or Arizona, or worse yet, in the Rockies. When you get up above the alpine tundra and there's no trees, some of the roads, the drop-offs are literally 1,000 feet down. So if you slide off of those, you have a lot of problems. But here, it wasn't that big of a deal. But it's just right getting to be the start of the ski season. And so it wasn't really busy because of the snowstorm, but that snow would obviously bring people up to the ski resort. Stevens Pass, along with Snoqualmie, are two of the main ski areas. Washington does have a big ski recreation area, both cross-country, snow skiing, and downhill skiing. And Stevens Pass, the Stevens Pass Resort, is one of those areas which you see here. So I made it down into Leavenworth. By the time I got down, it had turned into freezing rain. So the streets of Leavenworth, the small German town, were covered in ice. So it was very slow going from Leavenworth out to Wenatchee. Wenatchee is a really nice place. It's quite busy. I was quite surprised, but it is heralded as the apple capital of the world. One of the things that I noticed, I didn't see him at night, but when I had come back in to do a lot of my photography on the following day, I noticed during the daylight, when I could see, because it was dark by the time I had driven through there, that the mountainsides were literally covered with apple orchards. Like, as far as the eye could see, everywhere that you were looking, you would see these beautifully manicured, perfectly rowed, perfectly measured apple orchards. And I can just only imagine the volume of apples that comes out of here, on top of the fact that I bet you it's gorgeous with regard to apple blossoms in the spring. But boy, there were a ton of apple trees and apple orchards between Wenatchee and Leavenworth. Wenatchee's about 18, 20 miles from Leavenworth. I was really disappointed in what I would see in Leavenworth. I've seen a couple of videos from people that were thrilled about the fact that they were visiting Leavenworth. And so we have Frankenmuth in Michigan, and Frankenmuth is really a German town, and it is really done well, really well. It's pretty good size, and it is Bavaria when you're there. It's really amazing there. On top of the fact that Frankenmuth is kind of the host of Bronner's Christmas Wonderland. Now, if you've been around the country and you've been to the 365-day-a-year Christmas stores, usually they're quite cheesy. They're not really something that's like, wow, I'd write home about that. Bronner's is the largest 365-day-a-year Christmas store in the world. And it is a tourist destination for people from everywhere in the world. It is really something. In fact, when you're down in Florida, there are spots as you're coming up from Florida that they have billboards that says, Bronner's is only 1,365 miles. It is well renowned with regard to not only the landscape around the store, but as well as the store itself. It is as large as a large shopping mall, and it's not individual stores. It's one company, one entity, and it's nothing but Christmas. And so I don't know how many acres of property they have there, but it's just like the whole property is decorated 24/7, 365 days a year for Christmas. And it's epic. I mean, it is epic. So I come to Leavenworth, and Leavenworth, Watson and I walked around to try to see what it was all about. We went in the early morning because when you go there, it is quite busy. It's very touristy, almost tacky. And there's not a spot there's one parking lot that I found that there's free parking, and there are about 25 or 30 spots in there. You cannot find that I could see a place to park that's a reasonable place from a distance standpoint to visit this area in Leavenworth. Everything is pay parking. There's nowhere you can park that's not pay. Street side, parking lots, some of them as high as $20 to $40 to park there. It was insane. It's literally 2 blocks long. I mean, and they're short blocks. It's one street, that's 2 blocks long, and there are 2 side streets that go maybe a half a city block back. That's the extent of Leavenworth. And this massive, Christmas display that they do, the lighting of the tree on the weekends, is like a 20-yard by 30-yard, 40-yard maybe city square with, I think, maybe 4 or 5 large trees and with Christmas lights on them. And that was about it. Yeah, I mean, I didn't see anything else there when I was there. I mean, the buildings have Christmas lights on them or anything, but I think to put it into perspective, again, I've referenced the Bronners thing, but I spent 18 years in Orlando. So I've seen Christmas at Disney. I've seen Christmas at Universal. I've seen Christmas at SeaWorld. I've seen Christmas in downtown Orlando and Lake Eola. Downtown Orlando would do Christmas right because everybody's coming to go to Disney. So, of course, downtown they have to represent. It kind of looks a little bit like this. So you can see what I'm used to or what my point of reference is. And this was nothing like that. So from that perspective, it's a 3.5 hour drive from where I'm at right now to get over there. I would not ever make that trip again to go there. Watson and I did, while we were in Leavenworth, stopped at the kind of the last espresso stand on the way out, and that young lady was so sweet to Watson, and the coffee was actually great. It was a really good latte that I had, and they were really sweet, and it was just a cute little stand. I really liked it, but again, we walked around and took some footage and enjoyed ourselves downtown, and Watson walked around, but this is the extent of what we saw. So, kind of, I don't want to upset anybody that, like, because, when you start talking about this kind of stuff, people kind of take it personal. Like when we did the Slab City video, people kind of they take ownership of the areas, like, it's a personal attack if you weren't really impressed. But again, perhaps for around here, maybe people are like, yeah, that's just the greatest place in the world to go. It's just wonderful to go there. My perspective is different from what I've seen. The real reason that I went over there, though, was to get some photography. All I was thinking about as I was driving through the area that night during that snowstorm was, man, this is going to make unbelievable snow video and snow photography. I just cannot wait to share this with you guys. So Tuesday night I get there, I wake up Wednesday, temperature had gone up to like 36 or 38 degrees, and it was raining. So I go in to a place called Lake Wenatchee that my new friend had recommended, and I find out that the pass that I bought from the state of Washington doesn't actually apply to this area for what I wanted to do. These state parks are considered snow parks now when it starts snowing. So the Discover Pass that I bought from the state of Washington doesn't apply. You have to have the annual snow park pass for any of the snow parks, and Lake Wenatchee State Park, north and south, happened to be one of them. Snow parks are parks where they do groomed trails for cross-country skiing, snowshoeing, and hiking in the snow. So, man, fortunately, I met a great young man that was driving one of the plow trucks. I explained the dilemma to him, and he said, just go down to the South Park, grab your photos. We're not going to insist that you have the snow park pass. Merry Christmas from me. That made my day, because I was really down based on what I was seeing in Leavenworth, and just like it was not what I had expected based on what everybody was telling me, and the fact that the trees were dropping the snow and they were melting off rapidly because the snow was heavy, so it was falling off the pine trees. It was going to leave me very little that I could do and that I could photograph, and that was very frustrating. I powered it out to Lake Wenatchee, walked out. The snow was deep. It was coming up to the middle of my thighs when I was walking through it in some spots. But I was able to get the shot. I thought it was pretty good. And, take a look and see what you think. So after I got the shot, drove around and did some filming around there, I came out, and the sky actually broke, and it did start to pierce through the clouds. The sun did. And there was still some snow on the pine trees at this point. Again, couldn't believe it went from this to what you'll see next as far as the snow on the treescape, as far as the landscape goes. I launched in the National Forest, and I got up above the tree line and just was amazed at what I was seeing. The beauty of the mountain range, it was amazing. Take a look. So that was my day. The next day, we came and we, again, walked around downtown Leavenworth, did a little bit down there before we left, and we headed up over the range. As I was going up and over, obviously, one of the things that I really wanted to get for you guys was just that pines and mountains, the pines draped in snow, mountains in the background. That was really what my heart was set on, and really what I wanted to show you guys, just to really give you a taste of that beauty. And so as I was driving up to Stevens Pass, there were a couple of mountains on the left and the right, where at the top, it was still cold enough, I could tell and I could see the trees were covered with snow, and I mean really covered with snow. I thought that's Christmas. The mountains and the snow up there. My friends on the Living with Rob channel, those of you that follow me from a photography standpoint, they're gonna want to see this. It's just gonna be mouth-watering as far as like, wow, I've never seen anything so beautiful. And I said I got to stop and do it, because this might be the last time that I have an opportunity to get that stuff. Let's do it. Take a look at this footage and some of the following photos that I got for you guys. So that was it. Came up, went around Stevens Pass. Again, there was some snow up there, but it had already started to melt. By the time I got up over and started coming down Stevens Pass, I was down 3 miles, and you would never know that I drove through such an enormous snowstorm. You'd never know it. It's just crazy. I could not believe the difference in the landscape. Just absurd. It was really insane. Overall, I felt that the trip was worth it, only from the standpoint that kind of at the last moment, I was able to get some of the most amazing photos and the most amazing shots that it's great. It's so great, and I just love sharing that kind of stuff with you guys. Moving forward, I've kind of lost my energy for doing YouTube videos on a weekly basis. I've been busy here in the RV park that I'm staying at, doing service work for people because I do have my certifications now. For this Christmas, it's just me. It's just going to be me and Watson here. Levi will be here, but my wife and her family are going to be in Florida. My middle son is going to be in Pennsylvania with his soon-to-be wife. My daughter is in South Carolina somewhere with her husband, and just me here. So it's weird. I'm not really emotional about Christmas, but a lot of you that watch here are family to me and friends to me, and you've supported me, and I've seen you at Christmas, and not now. So I'm not in Utah, not in Arizona. I'm in the Northwest, where it's cloudy and rainy all the time. That's okay. I'm happy to be here, right? Count your blessings. That's one of the things that this is teaching me, is count your blessings. And being able to be here and share what I'm able to do from a photography standpoint and an adventure standpoint with you guys is really important to me. So as I close out, I want to tell you that I'm grateful for you. I'm glad that you've been here on this ride. I'm glad that you have supported me. Many of you offer me tremendous levels of encouragement, and I really am grateful for it. I hope that you have a wonderful Christmas with your family and your friends. I hope that your life is well. If you're struggling, I'm sorry. I know how hard it is. Try to look at those little things where you can say, that today was a real blessing for me. It can be the littlest thing. And that, I think, sometimes makes it all better when we're able to look at something that is causing us to feel down and change our perspective and find one or two things wherein we can say, but at least I have that. And that's pretty great. So thanks a lot for watching. I really appreciate it. Until next time, this video here is a video that YouTube thinks you want to see next. Wait, let me take that. No. It's been so long since I've done it. I can't remember. This video here is a video that YouTube thinks you want to see next. This playlist here is going to be all things hiking and photography that you might really appreciate. And of course, if you click the circle, you're subscribed. And I would love to have you on board if you haven't subscribed already. Until next time, Rob out.